On March 3rd, 1993, 12-year-old Rick Ennis bludgeoned his mother to death with a baseball bat and shot her in the face. When his stepfather, Eddie Joe Flowers, came home from work, Ennis shot him in the face with a shotgun. For 2 days, he lived in the house with their bodies, going about his routine as if nothing had happened. Later, he told investigators he was angry because his parents planned to move and he didn't want to leave his school. Even at that young age, his violence was chilling. He carried knives, ammunition, and told police he had plans to kill his 3 stepsisters as well. Because of his age, he could not be tried as an adult. He served just 9 years for the double murder before being released back into society. No one could have predicted that years later, Ennis would once again be linked to another horrific crime. Fast forward to June 10th, 2006. In Auburn, Alabama, 24-year-old Lorie Slasinski made plans for a girls' night with her best friend Lindsay Braun. She called around 6:30 p.m. to say she'd stop at the store first, then head over, but she never arrived. The next day, Lindsay grew worried. Lorie didn't return her calls. By Monday, when Lorie failed to show up for work at the East Alabama Mental Health Center, alarm bells went off. Lorie was dependable, never careless about her job. By Tuesday, June 13th, Lindsay and another co-worker drove to Lorie's trailer. They found the front door unlocked. The air conditioner hummed. Lorie's beloved dog, Peanut, sat in his crate, clean and well fed, as though someone had been tending to him, despite Lorie being gone. But something felt wrong. The rugs Lorie had laid in her kitchen so Peanut wouldn't walk on the tile were missing. So was her outside trash can. That same day, Lorie's mother Arlene got a call from Lorie's workplace. Her daughter had missed 2 days in a row. Arlene rushed from work to Auburn. Entering the trailer, she noticed the door ajar, the bed neatly made, but no Lorie. The car was missing, along with the kitchen rugs, a pillow from the couch, a Galileo thermometer, a green trash can, and even the phone cord from her landline. Arlene's heart sank. She reported her daughter missing. Police entered Lorie's trailer and immediately found unsettling clues. There were signs of a struggle, scuff marks on the wall, semen on Lorie's bedsheet, traces of blood on the doorknob, a bent coat hanger, and a single golden hoop earring. Surveillance footage placed Lorie at a Walmart earlier on June 10th, the last confirmed sighting of her alive. Then, on June 14th, just 4 days after she vanished, at 4:40 a.m., Lorie's car was found engulfed in flames on an abandoned path near the bowling alley where Rick Ennis once worked. A gas can was discovered nearby, along with a hand-rolled cigarette. Lorie was not inside. The case shifted immediately from a missing person to suspected homicide. That same day, Lorie's mother Arlene received a call from 25-year-old Rick Ennis, one of Lorie's friends. He suggested Lorie had gone off to make a drug deal. It didn't make sense. Arlene knew Rick. Lorie had even brought him home for Christmas in 2005 because he had no family. She doubted Lorie would ever deal drugs. Still, police listened. Ennis claimed he and Lorie grew marijuana together, and she might have been dealing with shady people, but investigators found no evidence of drug activity in Lorie's home. More troubling, Ennis had scratches all over his arms and hands. He said they were from his dog. Then Lindsay told investigators something that made them suspicious. On the last phone call she'd had with Lorie the night she disappeared, she distinctly heard Ennis's voice in the background, and she remembered Lorie telling her recently about a love letter Ennis had written, one she didn't return his feelings for. Lorie had planned to talk to him about it. The picture darkened. Rejection, obsession, and opportunity. As suspicions mounted, investigators dug into Ennis's background. What they found shocked them. This wasn't just a lonely man with an unrequited crush. This was the same boy who, at 12 years old, had brutally murdered his mother and stepfather. The boy who told officers without hesitation, "I killed them both." Though he'd served 9 years, he'd been released, moved to Auburn, and integrated himself back into society. Lorie met him at the bowling alley where he worked. She'd felt sorry for him, even inviting him to her family's home for the holidays. But behind his soft-spoken exterior, a history of violence lingered. After Lorie's disappearance, Ennis soon left Auburn and moved to Huntsville. There, he shared an apartment with Abram Sissons. Abram noticed Ennis brought rugs with him. which he claimed were a gift from Lorie. He also kept a Galileo thermometer, the same kind missing from Lorie's home. Ennis even told Abram he had been in love with a woman in Auburn who disappeared without a trace. Abram dismissed it, until he learned of Ennis's violent past. Horrified, Abram kicked him out. The police later recovered one of the rugs stained with Ennis's blood. Still, there wasn't enough evidence to charge him. Lorie's case went cold. A decade passed. In 2016, a special agent with the Alabama Bureau of Investigation launched a cold case unit. Lorie's file was his first priority. His team reopened evidence, sent items for new forensic testing, and re-interviewed witnesses. Ennis remained the prime suspect, but still, they lacked the smoking gun. Then Agent J.W. Barnes uncovered something shocking, an envelope of evidence that had sat unopened for 10 years. Inside were the long-forgotten results of lab tests from 2006. The DNA was clear. Semen found on Lorie's bedsheet and blood on her doorframe both belonged to Rick Ennis. On August 6, 2018, his 38th birthday, US Marshals arrested Rick Ennis at his home in Pilot, Virginia. He was living with his fiancée, a school librarian, and working for a portable structures company. The charges: 2 counts of capital murder. COVID delayed the trial, but it finally began in April 2022. The prosecution presented the DNA evidence. The defense claimed the encounters with Lorie had been consensual and accused police of planting evidence. But testimony from 2 witnesses further weakened Ennis's story. Jeremy Brooks, a former co-worker, said that just one day before Lorie vanished, Ennis asked him for gas and told him to keep the gas can. When Lorie's car was found burned, a gas can from the same bowling alley was discovered nearby. Another co-worker, Terry Booth, testified that Ennis once told him he had to get rid of a body when asked why he left Auburn. After 2 days of deliberation, the jury found Rick Ennis guilty. Ennis faced the death penalty, but after consultation with Lorie's mother, prosecutors took it off the table. Arlene Slasinski believed that life without parole would spare her family years of painful appeals while guaranteeing Ennis would never be free again. On April 14, 2022, Rick Ennis was sentenced to life in prison without parole. He remains incarcerated at William E. Donaldson Correctional Facility in Bessemer, Alabama. For Arlene, the verdict brought both relief and heartbreak. "It means I have to accept Lorie is never coming home," she said, tears in her eyes.